viewers, I'm doing Adioye. Welcome once again to another educative and informative edition of the program, Sex, Sexuality and Your Health. And here with me in the studio is Monica Taiwo. Welcome.
Good afternoon.
Today she'll be discussing the topics, what exactly sex is and how to discuss sex with your children, with teenagers.
Thank you, Doyin. Sex will mean broadly two things. Sex is who you are and what we are. Your biological makeup and your gender. Basically, most of the time, when they give you a form to fill, there's always a little column there that is, what is your sex? It's either you're female or male. Then, sex could also mean sexual intercourse. How do you communicate sex with to your teenage children? Now, when you say teenagers, when you say a teen, what comes to mind is a child between 13 and 19. Okay. But if you want to take it from the broad view of when a child gets to puberty age, now in recent times we have children getting to puberty age as early as 7, 8 and 9. That's why it is very important for you to communicate sex to your children as early as possible. Now let's take the teenagers. How do you communicate sex? First and the most important thing is for you to have the communication line between you and your children open at all times. Be your child's friend and be able to discuss anything with your children. Now, how do you communicate sex? For me, Monica Taiwo, what I would advise is, firstly and majorly, be your child's friend and confidant. Always leave the communication line open and allow your child to be able to tell you things, discuss things with you, and be able to confide in you. Now, on the issue of sex, don't, for as parents and maybe grown-ups, you should not for a minute think they don't know what you think is going on. They know more than you do. That is why you should know their friends, know who they move with, and let them know the level or where your friendship between the same sex and the opposite sex should terminate. Okay. Who is your friend and what level the friendship should terminate on or at. Then, if you want to tell somebody, if you want to give something out, you cannot give what you don't have. You yourself should be knowledgeable about sex and the issues of sex and be able to communicate even as adults between your spouse or between each other so that you'll be able to communicate effectively with your children. Now, if you don't communicate sex with your children, they will learn, the next place they will learn from, and the most common places they learn from is peer group. When a child learns anything from peer group, it's either positive or negative. And mostly they get negative information. So be able to give it. You should always let them talk first. Then you give them the right information. Open the line of where, when, what, and whatever with them. So that they can give it back to you as it comes. Then another thing that people fail to understand, or people fail to take cognizance of when they talk about sex, is the issue of oral sex. Okay. When you're communicating sex with your teenage children, people always seem to take in the penile penetration issue only as sex. Oral sex too is sex. Let them know that in any situation of where touching where you should not touch, stepping beyond the bounds of your body and stuff like that, anything that is oral, let them know that that too is sex. Then, when they ask you questions about sex and sexual issues, there's no point being awkward about it. That's why I said earlier that you have to leave the communication line open, friendly, and let them be able to trust you enough to discuss issues with you all the time. Do not close up. And please, as parents and elders, answer as factually as possible and don't give them what they're not asking for. Because, for instance, when a child asks you what is A, don't go on to say A, B, C, and D. Because when you tell the child A, B, C, and D, when he asks you A, he or she will go ahead to tell his or her peer groups. And you know what is said about reported speech? Distorted. So that when he asks you A, give him or her A, factually and in a friendly manner, so that your child will be able to trust you that whatever mommy says is the law and is good, is okay, and I can rely on it. Basically, what is about sex? Do not, the moment you don't make sex a hush-hush thing, or behind the door thing, so that the child will get curious. It is okay.
Now, talking about teenagers, some even find it hard to approach you and tell you whatever they are going through. How do you help such teenagers?
That was why I said earlier that first and foremost, the most important thing, either male or female, daddy or mommy, a child must be able to trust one of the parents enough to approach you with whatever is on his or her mind. In the issue of sex aside, when you're your child's friend and you leave the communication line open at all times, a child will be able to approach you with whatever problem he or she has. When he or she cannot approach mother or daddy, probably for a reason or one reason or other, they've closed the communication line or gap, there must be an adult that a child, either a teacher or a grown-up that the child can approach. When you leave the communication line open and your friend, you're your child's friend, your child, either a male or a female, will be able to discuss whatever is a worry, either sex or any other issue with you, and that is the best thing you can. That's the best way you can handle issues with your teenagers, so that they won't go wrong.
All right, thank you very much.
You're welcome.
So till next time, when we bring you more educative information about sex, sexuality, and your health, I remain doing Adioye.
Thank you very much. It's Monica Taiwo.